What's up, guys? It's Techno Viking 23 coming to you today with some more Destiny. And if you guys tuned in earlier, you know I did my little commentary video on the Reef reveal they did today with the House of Wolves, and was actually pretty positive and pretty excited about it. So I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Wow, where's the normal, cynicism and negativity?" Well, there were a couple of things in the reveal that I had some questions about, and a couple of issues here and there, but I really didn't want to interrupt the whole positive vibe I had going on with the video. So I figured I'd just make a separate video later on to kind of go over some of those things. And there were a couple things that I did notice. I rewatched the stream just to kind of clarify a few things, and found a couple things really interesting. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Trials of Osiris. Now, they didn't really go in too much in depth into it in this reveal, probably because they are going to do that next week. On the 29th, they are going to be doing another reveal video or a stream on Twitch where they're going to go into the Trials of Osiris and give us some information about it, I'm guessing, and kind of hopefully show us a little bit more in depth what it's going to entail. They did take a look at the vendor today, but they didn't really, go into his gear, what he's going to have, or anything like that. So we still have to kind of wait for that. Now, the one thing they did reveal about the Trials of Osiris is that it is only going to be available for a couple days during the week. It's going to be an event that runs from Friday to, I believe, Tuesday is what they said. So it's going to be kind of like the Iron Banner. It's not going to be around all week. It's only going to be around for a couple days. And I personally, I have a little bit of a problem with that. And for a couple of reasons. One of the things is I really do enjoy the PvP in Destiny. Now, I know it's not perfect. It's not great. There are some little imbalances and some weapon problems and some other issues. But for the most part, the PvP for me is rather enjoyable, mainly because it's not any of the mainstream games. It's not Call of Duty. It's not Battlefield. It feels like it is its own game. It does feel to me like there is a little bit of a skill gap in the game, and it can be fun. Now, I do get tired of the Crucible from time to time, but for the most part, I do enjoy the PvP in Destiny. The problem with the PvP in Destiny is that there, first of all, just isn't enough to do in it, and the community for the PvP side of Destiny is not that big to begin with. And I think that's mainly due to the fact that there is a lack of content in PvP, which is funny because there's a lack of content in PvE in this game, and you have a lack of game modes, you have a lack of overall stuff to do when it comes to the PvP side as well. And I think, it's all been one of my main gripes with Destiny is I find it just absolutely amazing that Bungie is the company that made, all the Halo games, which had really good multiplayer, going all the way back to Combat Evolved. You go through all the Halo games that Bungie put out, and they all have these just great playlists full of all kinds of variety and in different game modes, and SWAT and Team Snipers and Capture the Flag and Oddball, and there's just so many fun game modes in the Halo games. It's kind of shocking that this is what we got in Destiny for our overall PvP. And so Trials of Osiris, I was a little bit excited for that because I'm not a hardcore PvP player by any means. I'm barely over a 1.0 KD, but I've come a very long way from where I originally started. And I do enjoy playing Iron Banner. I enjoy playing the events to get the gear and grind for the gear. And it's, our Trials of Osiris is going to offer some pretty cool gear that's coming out. Well, then you come to find out it's only going to be kind of a temporary, not a temporary event. It is going to be around each week, just only for a couple of days. And I just have an issue with that. And the main problem I have with that is the Trials of Osiris has been used to pump up the DLC quite a bit here in the last couple of weeks. Bungie's been advertising it pretty much as one of the main components of this DLC. And now we find out you're not even going to get to play it all the time. It's going to be a thing that comes up a couple days a week, and it's not going to be available 100% of the time. Now, I guess the vendor is probably going to be in the Reef 100% of the time. You're just not going to be able to play the event 100% of the time, which I personally don't like that at all. It's kind of like when they brought in Inferno Control, which a lot of people have enjoyed because there's no radar and it adds another element of difficulty and surprise to the Crucible, and they only allow those modes to come for a couple days. It's kind of like when they do Combined Arms, when they do Salvage, they rotate these playlists every few days instead of just having them all available all the time, which I think would be a much better option and would give you a much bigger PvP community with more variety. And that's one of the reasons I was thinking Trials of Osiris would be a full-time event. It would always be available. It was going to be more of a higher tier PvP event, kind of like Iron Banner, but it would always be there. It would be something you can, if you want to play it on a Monday night or Wednesday morning or Sunday afternoon, there was not going to be any of this, oh, you can only play it between Friday and Tuesday. I think personally that's a mistake. I think it's a bad move on Bungie's part. And like I said, I already said it's one of the main things they're pumping in this DLC, so I don't know why they would do that and then only make it a temporary event. And the other thing too is, I think Trials of Osiris has been around for a while. They just have not figured out when to put it in the game. If you guys remember way back when the game first came out, Bungie gave the Fate of All Fools, which is an exotic weapon that's associated with Trials of Osiris. It's an exotic bounty you were able to, according to the data mining, you were able to get in the Trials of Osiris. And then it would give you the Fate of All Fools. Well, they actually gave that weapon to a guy who, he had some, I don't remember 100%, but he had some health problems, and he had some very serious health issues, and part of his rehabilitation that was helping him was playing, his doctor had suggested he play games, and he was playing Destiny, and he really enjoyed Destiny, and, his wife, I believe, reached out to Bungie, and then Bungie went back, and, they gave him the weapon as just kind of a gesture of goodwill, which I think was pretty cool. That was, I know a lot of surprisingly, some people were really salty about it, and it, at the end of the day, guys, it's just a weapon in a game. It's not a huge problem. So I thought it was a pretty cool thing on Bungie's part. But what that shows me is that the stuff is already in the game. If they actually had the weapon they could give to someone in their postmaster, that means it's already in the game. It's created. It's content that's in there. That was back, when the game came out a while ago. So I think Trials of Osiris stuff has been around for quite a while. They've just been waiting to give it to us, and I think after waiting it's going to be almost 9 months that we've had to wait now when it finally does drop in May. You've had this game mode sitting there for this amount of time, and we've had to wait for it up until now, and it's, part of the paid DLC, and now they're going to say you can only play a couple times a week, or you can only play, for a couple days a week. It's not going to be offered all the time. I think that's really, it just gives a broader picture of some of the issues with the game in general, is that there's just not a whole lot to do in Destiny, and when they finally add something in that we can get excited about to play in PvP, well, it's only going to be available a couple days a week. So I think bad move on Bungie's part. And again, to me, it's like, why not? And people are going to say, well, why are you complaining? It's there. You can play it for a couple days. It's on the weekends when people can play. My whole thing is, well, why not? Why is it not there all the time? Why is it not an option to play all the time? And that seems to be one of the main problems with the game every now and then, is they just take things away for no reason, when they should just leave it in the game and give you those options to have that content, because there's already a lack of content. So that's my main gripe with it, is it should be there for us to play all the time. It shouldn't just be a once, a couple days a week. So that was one thing I had, and maybe they'll change that. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I'm trying not to get too upset or up in arms about it, because obviously we're going to get a reveal video on Trials of Osiris next week, so we'll get to see exactly, hopefully in more detail, exactly what is going on with it. So I'm gonna wait and see, and then I'll probably do a reaction video to that reveal next week when they finally do that. The other concern I have with House of Wolves is the same kind of concern I had with the Dark Below, is that, Bungie's pulling the whole PR line about, oh, we've listened to the community and, the fans who've complained about the lack of story and enhancing the story in Destiny. We've heard all that, and we're listening to everybody, and that's the same stuff they told us before Dark Below. And when Dark Below came out, it was pretty obvious they hadn't actually listened to us in that regard, because everything, the content, story, PvE-wise, in Dark Below, you could play it all in about 2 hours. And there really wasn't a whole lot. It didn't really enhance the game. It didn't do anything to help the story. It didn't really, add a whole lot there. So I am still skeptical about House of Wolves in the way that's going to work out, because, like I said, today was it was a great stream they did. It was a great reveal. There's a lot of cool stuff to be excited about, but it's all changes to vendors, it's all changes to weapons, it's all changes to gear. There's been no really actual kind of teaser yet about the content we're getting. There hasn't been much discussion about, the arena. We're not going to get to see any of that, the Prison of Elders, till almost when the DLC is about to release, so we won't know yet on that. And it just makes me worried that they did all this today as kind of, it's like when somebody is upset about something and you kind of just throw up something shiny and say, "Oh, hey, look, something shiny, look, shiny," and they get distracted and they're like, "Oh, cool, look at that." And that's what I almost wonder if that's what today was. And I shouldn't be like that. But it's just that's the way it's become with Destiny. Is it's hard not to be skeptical sometimes. And they did all this work to make all the weapon changes that are really kind of good, in terms of the upgrading your gear and being able to use all your different gear, even your older stuff from prior to Dark Below. But I just wonder if they're just doing all that to distract from the fact that there's not going to be a whole lot of content in the game. And it's interesting because you actually don't need the DLC to enjoy a lot of the changes they're making. The only thing you really need the DLC for is to play Trials of Osiris and to do the new quests with the House of Wolves, and I'm sure there'll be a new strike, and the Prison of Elders. But all the new vendor stuff, all the upgrades, you will be able to get the material to upgrade your stuff to max level through the Iron Banner and through the Nightfall Strikes. So really, all you have to do is nothing. Just buy vendor gear, and then you can upgrade it through Iron Banner, you can upgrade it through the Nightfall Strikes, and still get to the max level. And you're only going to be missing a little bit of content. So, yeah, I just found it interesting. And then it was interesting as King Gothalion, he did ask a lot of good questions today. And some of the more in-depth ones, Bungie kind of just went off, and they did the typical thing was you start to answer the question and you just talk and talk and talk and talk in circles, and you don't really answer the question, but you just talk so much that people kind of lose track and they think you did. And they did that with a few of the questions he had, most with regard to when they showed the new bounty robot and they showed the Queen's vendor, and he asked, are we going to get the same, is it going to be the same rehashed bounties and as like Queen's Wrath was before, where it was just replaying story missions, or are we getting actual new content with it? And they kind of just did that whole let's avoid the question strategy. So I thought that was interesting, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least if we don't get anything revamped there. I fully expect the Queen's Wrath to just be, you're going to get 3 new story missions like we got in Dark Below, and you're going to have to play them over and over again. You're going to have to do the same bounties over and over again. It's going to be just like it is now. It's just a grind. It's another grind. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and so that is my main concern, is I'm still worried that we're not going to get a lot of content, because the thing is, if we get all these new weapons and you can be level 34 and all this other stuff, it's like, well, that's great, that's cool and all, but I don't play the game to get new guns and upgrade new guns. I play the game to be immersed in the game world and enjoy the story and enjoy the player versus enemy side. I do like PvP as well, but I bought Destiny because I thought it was going to be this epic, amazing sci-fi adventure, and really it's just a grind. There's really no adventure, there's really no story, there's really no character development, there's no reason for me to care about the game world, there's no reason for me to care about my character, who's just some nameless, soulless guardian who just, go here, kill this, do it again, over and over again, like I'm doing right here on this patrol. It's just, this is Destiny in a nutshell. It's like a hamster wheel. And I really fear that if they don't add in some more like really good story-driven content, that the game is just not going to, not going to last very long, or what it is. It's just not going to be that enjoyable for much longer. So either way, that is some of the concerns I still have for House of Wolves, and obviously we're going to get some more reveal videos coming up here in the next few weeks, where Bungie's hopefully going to alleviate my concerns. I do think it's great that, the way they came out with the reveal today, they did show that they are listening to a little bit of our criticism and feedback. So, like the things about making the gunsmith more relevant, adding in the reforging for regular legendary weapons and not just Iron Banner stuff, making it easier to upgrade exotics without having to redo your whole upgrade tree. They definitely listened to some of the outrage and stuff that went on with the Dark Below, and they've implemented new stuff in the game so that it's not going to be as bad as last time. So at least that shows me there's a bit of a sliver of hope for the future of the game, but I'm still unfortunately going to have to be skeptical until we actually see House of Wolves. But that's pretty much it, guys. The Trials of Osiris thing is really the main thing I was kind of upset about, and kind of just didn't think it's a good. I don't still think it's a good decision on Bungie's part to limit Trials of Osiris to just being a few days a week. So you've already got a game where hardly anybody plays PvP, according to Bungie's own admission, and if you want to really get a PvP community going in Destiny, you've got to give us more game modes, and you got to let it be around for more than just a couple days a week. That's people are not going to complain about having more content to play and more stuff to do in PvP. You know, that's the main complaint right now, is there just is not enough to do. It's the same thing over and over. So having a new PvP mode, having a new PvP game to play, having just something new in PvP, and having it be around all the time would be really great. So those were my negative sort of criticisms and negative thoughts I had on the trailer reveal. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you even care about PvP? Because I know a lot of people don't really care about PvP in Destiny, and that's kind of sad. But you know, I think it's Bungie has a lot to do with that, because they just have not put a lot of work into the PvP side of things. They just kind of released the game with a couple bare bones little play modes and said, here you go. You know, everything's glorified team deathmatch pretty much, and they just said, here, go play, and this is all you get. So I think they're making a mistake by not having Trials of Osiris available all the time, and I hope they change their mind on that. Anyways, guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. I thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I am creeping up on another subscription milestone, so probably going to be doing a video about that, and some maybe even a possible giveaway I'm thinking about doing here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. There's going to be some more videos coming this week, hopefully. Obviously, we'll get Zer later this week, see if he's got anything useful. Because it's interesting, I was thinking about saving all my marks and all my stuff for House of Wolves, but now that I know we're going to be able to upgrade all this gear and bring all our legendaries forward, I may just go ahead and purchase some more items that I was saving my stuff for. So either way, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I will see you again next time.